I cannot watch this.
Bert Kreischer is one of the biggest comedians alive today, but all the reasons why he is successful is what will likely drive him to an early grave. Bert's comedic persona is the overweight drunken jester with way too much confidence. Well, it's not much of a persona, that's who he really is. Bert's success has been highly scrutinized over the years. Many people say he lacks comedic talent, is a full-blown narcissist, and would be nothing if he wasn't friends with Joe Rogan. Others point out that he is a genuine, sweet family man who uplifts everyone around him, but both his haters and fans agree that Bert's current lifestyle is unsustainable, and he is in total denial of the obvious warning signs.
I say it to my friends, I mean it to my friends, I say it to my wife, I mean it to my wife, and I mean it to alcohol. Like, I love alcohol, I love marijuana, I love cigars. Right. You don't like whiskey, you don't love it. You know who loves it? Me. Right. Who drinks it at fucking 8 a.m. on a plane. Yes. To go disappear. I love whiskey.
Bert Kreischer's career started by accident due to a Rolling Stone article written about him in 1997. He was in his 6th year of college, where he regularly skipped classes, drank until the sun came up, slept through the days, and never planned for the future. He was known at his college as a party animal. Journalist Eric Hedgegaard from Rolling Stone wanted to do an article on Florida State, which recently got ranked as the top party school in the USA. As Eric was trying to find sources for his story, 5 different people told him to link up with Bert. Eric spent 1 week shadowing Bert's life as a college student and realized the article was not going to be about the school. It was about Bert. Bert Kreischer, the undergraduate, released on April 17th, 1997, and told his story of bar hopping, playing frisbee, failing classes, and not thinking about tomorrow. Just reading a few sentences from this thing made Bert into some kind of urban legend. Sometimes when he walked in, people stopped and stared like he was Pablo Picasso or some other famous hole. Occasionally, he whipped out his sunglasses and slapped them over his eyes. The shades made him look sort of raffish, like a Skid Row Tom Cruise, but he wore them only so he could avoid having to say hello to the people whose names he couldn't remember. Bert was essentially being celebrated as an unproductive, passionless degenerate, a persona he would maintain for his entire career. This article was a perfect excuse to try to get into the entertainment industry. Bert decides that stand-up comedy is the route he wanted to take, and a talent agent scouted him during one of his routines at Potbelly's on his college campus. They relocated him to New York City, where he would perform.
Guys, it is DJ Chad, but not everybody wants what you want. A lot of people, Chad, don't want to live forever and don't want to have this fucking like life of whatever. Sometimes people are just this is what they want, and that's perfectly valid.
At the Boston Comedy Club regularly. From there, an agent for Overbrook Entertainment, Will Smith's production company, scouted Bert and wanted to sign him to a 6-figure development deal. Will loved Bert and took him under his wing.
And then he was the greatest thing that ever happened in my life. He took me out to Hollywood. He introduced me to all the networks. He taught me how to sell a show. He was the greatest. I saw his dick.
Unfortunately, Bert's Hollywood career would be lackluster. He was able to land small acting and hosting roles, and Hurt Bert was the name of a 4-episode series on FX featuring him performing dangerous stunts. The one thing he did stay consistent with is stand-up, 5 or 6 days per week, working on his craft in front of small crowds for years. He wasn't alone doing this. Almost all of the popular comedians today were right there alongside Bert in those clubs, hoping for a chance to impress an agent that would make them a movie star. After Bert released his 2009 comedy special, Comfortably Dumb, he secured his own reality show on the Travel Channel called Bert the Conqueror, which was again a show about him doing dangerous stunts. But despite this show being the biggest thing going for him, his comedy buddies Joe Rogan and Bill Burr sat down with Bert to tell him some harsh truths. They sat me down and told me, "Your Travel Channel show sucks. You're funnier than that. You need to do specials. You need to do podcasts." Burr remembers the conversation vividly. He was down in the dumps, trying to figure out what the next move was, and Joe Rogan and I were just starting podcasting. Joe Rogan had a hunch that podcasting would be the next big thing for comedians to gain a fan base. They could break away from the old method of hoping for a corporate network to put you on a sitcom so you can sell tickets to your stand-up performances. And he was right. A phenomenon now dubbed the Joe Rogan effect, or the Brogan effect, is essentially that any comedian who is friends with or regularly featured on the Joe Rogan Experience would become wildly successful comedians / podcasters. Brennan Schaub, Brian Callen, Joey Diaz, Tom Segura, Ari Shaffir, Mark Normand are just a few of the many beneficiaries of the Brogan.
We're playing games, chat, but first, guys, I'm watching this chat, and after that, we're doing a Kanye watch party, and after that, we'll do also events.
Bert was a regular on Joe's podcast from the very beginning, and the JRE community treated him like their funny fat friend who has some of the most ridiculous stories.
I had a dream one time that me and Elvis walked into his hotel room, and there were 4 dudes butt f***ing, right? And I no,
your dad.
No, he used to
shit his pants
in
all the time in his 30s.
All the time. He used to,
how long would you said the story began with you saying that he shit his
pants in a Banana Republic in Beverly Hills?
Bert took Joe's advice and started his own podcast called Bertcast in 2013 and regularly had his comedian friends on as guests. The first 99 episodes were audio only, with the first video podcast he ever posted being episode 100 alongside Tom Segura. From here, he started taking his YouTube channel more seriously.
Hey guys, it's Bert Kreischer. This is my YouTube page.
Bert turned into a full-blown YouTuber, vlogging his family, his weight loss journey, and any random life adventures. He uploaded podcasts along some of the most promising upcoming talent in comedy, and of course, clips of his own stand-up. Bert admits that his stand-up act was very hacky for many years. He liked to riff with the audience and live in the moment. However, he wanted to challenge himself to write something, practice it, and put out a cohesive special that would act as a legacy piece. That special, titled The Machine, would go on to change his life. At the very end of 2016, Bert posted the Machine story that went extremely viral on Facebook, earning over 12 million views in one weekend. To this day, it has 40 million views. The same video quickly gained 4 million views on YouTube and brought him over 100,000 subscribers. Something about an overweight dude with no shirt talking about being kidnapped by the Russian mafia was too good to not share with everyone you know. Bert's fame leveled up from The Machine. He began booking larger venues due to higher ticket sales, doing as many as 3 shows per night for months straight. At this point, he received nothing but praise from the internet and comedy world, but he made a critical mistake early on.
It's really hard to do a solo podcast just coming up with a couple subjects and ranting for an hour. Yeah. When I started my podcast, I was like, maybe I'll do it solo. He goes, do it solo. You don't need guests.
Yeah.
I was like, and
Bert
I did
said this?
Yeah, yeah. And I did a couple solo. I go, Bill, they're not good. And he goes, they're not gonna be. He was like, let them be bad for like a year, and then they'll get better, and then they'll get really good, and then you won't even think about it, and then your writing on stage will be so strong. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna have guests.
This is a good insight into Bert's mentality. Instead of using his podcast as a tool to practice jokes and material to make his actual job as a comedian better, he decided he would rather just waste a couple hours chit-chatting with his buddies while the money flows in. But often, those conversations led to Bert being the butt of the joke, especially when he linked up with his best friend Tom Segura. Tom was exploding in fame due to his wildly successful Netflix special, Mostly Stories, which helped fans discover the Your Mom's House podcast. On one episode, Tom pulled up a picture of French actor Gerard Depardieu and jokingly said it looks like Bert. Then Tom's fan base started photoshopping Bert's face onto pictures of Gerard and spreading the hashtag #BertIsFat.
Because it was all their best fans making hilarious fucking jokes. One guy took the name Bert Kreischer and made his own fucking profile for it. By the way, I saw him in Hartford. He's obese.
Yeah.
He's obese.
Enormous.
And he just sat in the front row the whole time going, Bert's fat, Bert's fat. Next day, his mom shows up. Hey, buddy, your mom's morbidly obese. And the first word she says to me is, why are you so fat, Bert? And I'm like, oh my God, this is getting out of fucking control.
Someone even made a song dedicated to the meme. But the interesting part about this is that Bert did not think he was overweight, and it was Tom and his fans that tricked him into thinking he was fat.
Pull up a picture of me when you think I was fat, and I wasn't even that fucking fat. No. Now I look at it and I go, I was legit skinny. And now, when I look at it, and I go, I can't believe I got mind tricked into being fat. There's some of these ones.
You didn't get mind tricked into being fat.
But these seem like harmless jokes compared to when Ari Shaffir genuinely disrespected Bert and put his life in danger. Wow. But before we talk about that, allow me to...
Dealer.
We're going Patrick C, part of your family. Books.com.
Patrick CC, YouTuber, video we're watching right now.
Patrick CC, or use code PatrickCC at checkout.
Well,
I know your dog is a part of your family, so treat him like family. Thanks, Sundays. One night, Bert invited his friend and fellow comedian Ari Shaffir over to his house to do a podcast. Ari shook Bert's 13 and 15-year-old daughter's hands, walked into the podcast room where they were going to share some drinks. Then Ari decided to secretly slip a capsule of MDMA, aka Molly, into Bert's drink without him knowing.
Bro, you don't think it's fucking crazy that you would do that?
A bit.
Did you even get the Molly tested? Like, where are you buying this Molly?
I've done it from my favorite Molly dealer. It's
and
great
you just
Molly.
spiked
It's
his
great.
drink?
Yeah. Yeah.
High blood pressure, high cholesterol.
It out guys.
That is. Well, I'm not gonna rant about this. This is absolutely fucking insane. There's nothing even remotely fucking. There's nothing rational about this. Well, could have killed him. could have fucked his life up. That is crazy.
You're all talking
I would
about what
want to
ifs.
kill you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would fucking want to kill you.
He wanted to for about 10 minutes.
I was planning on having a couple drinks with you and then getting you out of my house, having dinner with my children, relaxing, getting on a plane, and going on tour. Instead, that's scrap.
Joe laughs off the situation. Tom thinks
Especially since the guy is like not fat, but he doesn't look healthy at all, right? The guy looks kind of putty and shit like that. You don't know what his heart condition is and shit like that, bro. So Molly at that age, dude, with that body, bro, you're asking for trouble.
Ari is a psychopath, and Bert was genuinely distraught about all of this. Any normal person understands what Ari did was dangerous, but the comedy community had mixed feelings.
I don't trust him. Because he spiked Bert. He gave his friend Molly. That's not okay.
It's not okay.
But wait, that's hilarious though.
Ari dosing Bert. You want to dive into this first?
I think that Bert likes any hype that he can get. I think he's okay with it in the end.
My mistake was not getting his wife. That way, she got upset at me because she felt left out. I think that was the biggest issue.
What?
No, I don't know. I'm not going to dose him again. Unless the opportunity arises.
Let me say something.
No,
if you
I'm not.
ever dose him again, it would be fucking hilarious.
Most people in Bert's situation would never talk to Ari again, especially after the blatant, unapologetic disrespect to his wife and family. But Bert made excuses for Ari's behavior.
Yeah, somebody's tolerance for jokes is one thing, but then doubling down because they decided not to be mad about it and to just kind of, okay, whatever, dude, I'm not gonna get too mad because just for the greater good of the show or of the brand and just keep on going. To then double down, that's really shitty.
I'm gonna give him Molly. We're gonna get high. We're gonna laugh. We're gonna hang out all night. He didn't really calculate it. Like he was like, I should have checked to see if his kids were in the other room. I should have checked to see
if he had to make dinner or something.
My wife was making dinner for both of us to have dinner with the girls because my girls loved Ari. And he's like, and he didn't check that I was flying that night. I was starting my tour that night. So there's a lot of things Ari didn't like check the boxes for.
This is even crazier.
Whoa, what?
And he's like, and he didn't check that I was flying that night. I was starting my tour that night. So there's a lot of things Ari didn't like check the boxes for.
This is even crazier considering Ari has disrespected Bert's daughter Georgia before this whole situation.
Ari had commented on Georgia's teeth. Georgia, her teeth are great now, but when she was younger, she didn't have any enamel on her teeth and they didn't look great. I posted a picture of me and her in Hawaii, and Ari was like, way to have ugly, no stupid fucking teeth.
Bert's actions, or lack of action, prove that he will allow others to take advantage of him and disrespect him. Or you could just say Bert is a sweet guy who is trying to give his friend the benefit of the doubt. Either way, Bert just kept seeing more success. He released his third comedy special, Secret Time, on Netflix when the Netflix comedy boom was at its peak. He started another podcast alongside Tom Segura called Two Bears, One Cave that became an instant hit, especially for moments like this.
You're drinking Kool-Aid to start your day? Really?
So
I used to do that too. I love Kool-Aid.
64 ounce. So much sugar. Good for that guy. He drinks a lot of water. It's Kool-Aid.
His laugh is almost identical to nails on a chalkboard. Bert's high-pitched hyena laugh is divisive amongst fans. Many have pointed out that his laugh is not just annoying, but borderline torturous. Others suspect that Bert's laugh is fake, and this theory would almost be proven true based on what Bert said to Joe Rogan.
My viral clips are me laughing at and people falling down. Mine are legit just me laughing. Just if I can laugh, it goes viral.
If Bert understands that the only way he goes viral is because of him obnoxiously laughing, then it's safe to assume that he might do it up a little bit. I mean, it was definitely working in his favor. In 2019, he was selling out 1,000 to 2,000 capacity theaters twice per week. As 2020 rolled around, he started selling 3,000 to 5,000 tickets per show. But then the pandemic hit, which was one of the best and worst things to happen to Bert's career. No comedy clubs were open, all tours were canceled, but more people were spending time inside, which meant they had more time to consume long-form content. Bert and the entire comedy podcast community saw massive—
Somebody gave a thing about me, dude. One, that wasn't fake, and two, I find like 10 things funny that nobody finds funny. Okay? Nobody laughs at whatever I find funny. Nobody thinks it's funny. Okay? I laugh at the same 3 fucking dog shit TikToks because I think they're funny. I watch it all the time. I can watch it all day.
spikes in their viewership, and they were all working together to try and entertain this new audience. They set up these terrible Zoom comedy shows that were destined for failure, but one ended in disaster for Bert.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next comedian is one of my comedic heroes. He is the reason I do stand-up. He is the reason I've been writing movies that have never been made, but I love his movies. I love everything about this guy. Without further ado, the guy that defined all our personalities, Adam Sandler.
Considering Adam is Bert's idol, you would think he would try to have his best first impression possible. Sandler was initially thrown off by Bert's fanboy energy, but kept it smooth. Then it got worse.
We're gonna watch your movie, Precious Gems, soon.
Oh yeah. That'll be. I don't know if they're gonna like.
Bro, I showed them Happy Madison.
Chill, what is this skit with the fucking measure tape?
And then
the movie's really good. You have Netflix?
Yes.
Check out Hey Big Boys, streaming right now. It's my new hour special.
Oh yeah, all right. I'll check it out. I'll check it out.
Gotcha.
I'll check it out late tonight, buddy.
While claiming to be a huge fan, Bert drunkenly mispronounced two of Adam's movies, Uncut Gems, as Precious Gems, and combined Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison to Happy Madison. Then he shamelessly promoted his comedy special. It was pretty clear Sandler started getting fed up with him.
I had a question I wanted to ask. If you could go back to one movie that was the funnest to shoot, doesn't matter what movie, just go back and have that be your set every day for the rest of your life, your Groundhog's Day, like we're all living. What movie was the funnest to shoot that you would shoot every single day for the rest of your life?
I have no answer for that. I got no idea. I never thought about that, and I never will, and I hated that question. What else?
The crazy part is...
Wait, what? I'm confused. Chad, the question was fine, no? I mean, he's allowed to not like the question, but I thought the question was pretty fine.
Yeah, I never thought about that, and I never will, and I hated that question. What else?
The crazy part is, Bert thought he impressed Adam.
And Theo, I thought it went well. I was like, nailed it.
That's alcoholism.
Left Whitney's going, ka-ching, you need the closer, bring in the closer. You, Adam Sandler's probably going, who the f is this Bert Kreischer guy? Sign him to a deal. Covert, get Kreischer on the line. This guy's hot. We need him.
Since Bert claims to love Sandler so much, he probably just assumed Adam would respect and love him back since they were on the same Zoom comedy show. But while trying to get Sandler's approval, he just embarrassed himself badly. Bert's inability to read the room or understand that he can't always be the main character would be a reoccurring issue in the future. He became the laughingstock of the comedy community, but it did not slow him down for 1 second. He put together the Hot Summer Nights comedy tour, which allowed fans to see him live just like they would a drive-in movie, with the show projected on a massive film screen and the audio playing through their car stereos. These performances are awkward since the comedian can't really hear the laughter, but a lot of comedians used Bert's format to save themselves from going bankrupt during the pandemic. He also secured another Netflix original, this time a reality TV show called The Cabin with Bert Kreischer. The show's premise is that Bert's life is moving 1,000 miles per hour and he needs isolation for healing and detoxing. He invites celebrity guests to a cabin in the woods to partake in various self-improvement activities that none of them really take seriously. There were plenty of hilarious moments, but every episode features a serious segment where Bert talks about his problems to his guests. This show could be perceived as Bert giving more visibility to various comedians. Others just look at it as a way for Bert to be the center of attention, projecting his problems onto other important people. The 2021/2022 Birdie Boy Tour was ranked number 4 in the top 10 highest grossing tours of the year, achieving a gross revenue of $23,581,000, selling 369,000 tickets over the course of 148 shows. On top of this, he was vlogging, doing the Two Bears One Cave podcast weekly, uploading his own Bertcast weekly, as well as featuring on any...
Imagine, that's gross, not net. I mean, events take there's a lot of cuts, a lot of people, a lot of things to pay. It's a crazy dilution. But still, imagine these numbers though when you scale them up to the people that fill up stadiums and shit, like Bad Baby and shit or whatever, dude. I mean, dude, it's in the billions or some shit. No, I mean in gross revenue, not in
selling.
net,
on top of this, he was vlogging, doing the Two Bears.
What? Bad Bunny.
33 months.
What did I say?
Wait. Chat. 33.
What did I say?
Months aware. She left me chat. I did nothing wrong,
Bad.
chat.
Oh, my
Aware?
bad. Oh, my fucking God.
There's One Cave Podcast Weekly, uploading his own Bertcast Weekly, as well as featuring on any other comedian's pod who would have him. He turned his iconic Machine story into a full-blown feature film. It was a critical failure, but his fans loved it. The film secured $10 million at the box office, but the $20 million budget made this film kind of a flop. Regardless, Bert was one of the most successful comics in the world, but this lifestyle was destroying him. He always had been a heavier guy. Around 220 pounds was a comfortable weight for him. During his tour, he reached over 260 pounds, which he clearly was not happy with. His face was puffy, his skin was bright red, and he just looked uncomfortable. But Bert has always struggled understanding his health.
So when I did Secret Time, I didn't realize that it already happened until they did the billboard of it. And they did the billboard, and I go, that's not my stomach. My stomach's tight. And it was complete.
Bert then goes on to say that he thought producers photoshopped a different man's stomach onto his body. They didn't. He is also steadfast in convincing everyone he is actually in great shape.
And this is like when you go like, I have legit
holidays and blessings
I do.
and your family.
Hold on, I do. I have legit great shoulders. Like great fucking shoulders. I am fucking jacked. I am low-key jacked. You're low-key. Feel my arm. Just feel my arm. Just feel my arm.
Now everyone should feel comfortable in their own skin, but it seems like Bert says these things hoping for confirmation bias. He wants yes men around him. His friends are not trying to shame him. It's more likely they want him to hold himself accountable so that things don't get out of control, because his weight and high blood pressure could be a direct result of his excessive alcohol consumption.
Early morning beer buzz is one of my favorite things in the world.
Nope, don't understand that.
And they're like, hey, come on in and get a drink. And I was,
Chat, early morning beer buzz. Okay, I don't think I've ever had that, but even if I did it, that made me feel like a fucking life failure. Like, dude, to feel like you're going to a day like, oh, dude, today we have to do something today. We have to do something today. And to feel like you're not in control because you're buzzing out. Fuck that.
I was like,
what?
No. I was like, God damn it, man. If this was any other day, I'd be like, oh, yeah. And I just double Tito's soda, big glass, no lime. Can I get a second one? I'm just going to murder this one real quick.
This guy, I mean, it's wild that he's alive.
Bert claims that he has this Mickey Mantle gene, which allows him to drink all night and work all day with no sleep.
Party all night, get up the next morning, and put in work. And perform like a champion on fumes. But then, I'm telling you, man, it's John Daly's got it.
Yeah.
Babe Ruth had it.
Right.
It's just those people.
I mean, that's it.
He compares his lifestyle to Mickey Mantle and Babe Ruth, two successful athletes that were also functioning alcoholics who died 30 years too soon. If there is a single clip on the internet that represents Bert, it's this one.
I will never quit drinking. Who's that guy? I will never quit drinking. I will always make sure that I can keep my body healthy enough so that I can always drink. At a brunch, someone goes, should we do mimosas? And then the waiter goes, actually, we have bottomless mimosas. And you're like, this is going to be the best day ever.
Sitting on the Joe Rogan podcast, drinking while his friends watch a video of him talking about how much he loves alcohol, while reciting the video under his breath. His overwhelming success combined with him lacking awareness was reaching a tipping point, and things were starting to get dark.
Best alone drinking you can ever do, in my opinion, now we're getting into the weeds on it, is alone behind someone's back. Like Christmas shopping. And your wife says, all right, let's all split up. And you go, cool. And it's like 11 o'clock on a Sunday, and they just opened that bar by the elevator in the Beverly Center, and you just sneak over and you go, hey man, can I get a double jack on the rocks, Ox for Rots? And they're like, sure. And you just have it, and you just go, let's just, and then you're off. And then you're like, yeah. And then you just, little sneak it. I mean, I look at like men, I am so far from a man. I am so far from a man. You know, like there's some self-actualization.
What is
that's been
happening today?
Like I'm so far from like a man who goes, yeah, everyone else first, then me. It's not how I think. I go me, and then, oh, there are other people here.
Talk to your therapist about any of this? Like, will you bring this up?
You know, no.
This is the stuff to talk about.
No, this isn't therapy stuff.
Yes, it is.
When you talk about men versus me.
It's clear as day that Bert is suffering. His friends would try to help him, but you cannot help someone who doesn't think they have a problem.
You think that you're an alcoholic?
No, I've run it through the ringer a few times. Dr. Drew's my litmus.
Oh yeah.
And I've talked to him about it. He's like, you're not an alcoholic. You just drink too much. He's like, alcoholism's different. Being powerless to alcohol is different than drinking a lot.
Yeah.
And I think same with like, I mean, a guy like Ron White. I think he was a big drinker. I don't think he was an alcoholic because he just quit.
One doctor told Bert he's not an alcoholic.
Wait, but drinking a lot gives you. Chat, drinking a lot gives you like de facto physical addiction to that shit. It doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing. It doesn't matter what mental you have. You are at least physically addicted to it.
alcoholic, and he uses that as his justification. He says he can quit drinking whenever he wants. He says he's not powerless to alcohol. He wants to be just healthy enough so that he can keep drinking. And to all of our surprises, he actually did quit.
I'm going sober for 23 days.
Guys, don't compare this to weed. I don't think weed has any physical addiction properties at all. Not even a little bit. I think it's only mental addiction. Could be wrong though.
That's not 5 days.
Then after 3 weeks, he said this.
On keto, day 21, no booze, no sugar, no carbs. And I feel fantastic. Or the fact that I have no booze to cloud it, but I feel phenomenal. If you're
more energy, thinking clearly, not feeling hungry, sleeping better. He says his blood pressure dropped to the point where he didn't have to take his medication anymore. Bert was shocked at how good his life could be. I'm down 40 pounds. I haven't had alcohol or sugar in 83 days. I've been primarily carnivore. That all ends today. Bert's celebration for his sobriety was by getting absolutely hammered on the fully loaded cruise.
Guys, what I'm saying is that I don't think it's chemically addictive. It's not chemically addictive. I don't think the body needs it chemically, does it?
Which was a multi-day long private cruise/comedy show that he spent 1 year planning. Bert's goal for getting sober was to prove to himself that he wasn't dependent on it. Now today he is going on podcast after podcast talking about how transformed he is.
You don't realize how deep you are in like obesity and drinking and keeping, how deep you are in the hole, right? Until you get your head a little bit out of it, and then you start feeling better, and like little things are feeling a lot better for me. I'm not an alcoholic. People have asked me that so often, and I go no, and they're like, really?
I think that you've told me directly that you think you have a problem.
No, I have a problem with everything, with food, with sex. Like I everything. I have a problem with everything. That's just my personality. There's two types of people. There's addicts and there's partiers. Partiers stop when the party's over.
Yeah.
And then addicts just never stop.
That's true.
And I was like, oh yeah, I stop when the party's over.
I love that every few months Bert gets healthier and it's a big thing and then it's right back off the rails. This is a sad reality for many people watching. You likely have a friend or loved one who is struggling with some sort of addiction. You can see it, but they can't, or they ignore it. You just want the best for them, but if they don't want it for themselves, then there really isn't anything you can do. You can't force them or shame them. None of it will work. And if they continue to spiral, you'll still feel guilty. You'll think that you could have done more to help. Bert brags about his Mickey Mantle gene, but
guys, my fucking
33 months
guys,
with
my Vegas host is fucking texting me and says that he's about to go meet with this guy.
xQc.
Why don't you keep picking on this?
Mickey Mantle died. You'll think that you could have done more to help. Bert brags about his Mickey Mantle gene, but Mickey Mantle died at age 63. That would mean Bert has roughly 10 years left to live.